Hello, I'm John Hill with jthmishmash.com and WGMU's Take It to the Hill. Today I have Doc Thompson with TheBlaze Radio. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, sir. Thank you.
So you're with TheBlaze Radio now. That was kind of a recent switch over?
Yeah, our first show was January 21st. It'd been town to town, up and down the dial, all across America. I was doing a show in Detroit most recently, and they flipped format of the station. So my first day of unemployment would have been January 2nd. That afternoon, Glenn's people called and goes, "Oh my golly, we're ready to expand. Come on."
So tell us a little bit about the Blaze Radio for those of us who don't know much about it.
Blaze Radio Network is something that Glenn put together as part of his new empire. Glenn is absolutely fascinating. He could end up being, if all goes well, the Disney of our time, somebody like that. His ideas, and I only know the smallest fraction of them, are incredible. And the radio network, because he has a love of radio, of course, is a part of that. It's right now cleared, of course, at TheBlaze.com, but in the future it'll probably be cleared at a bunch of other places as well.
I'm a big fan of Glenn's. How is it working with him, just out of curiosity?
It's really interesting. I've only gotten to know Glenn a little bit because I wasn't hired directly by him. He has people that book for the show. I filled in him on his national radio show for about 5 years. And then over the years, I've got a chance to meet him a little bit more. And now over the past couple of months, getting to meet him even more. People always say, is Glenn is he sincere? And I say, love him or hate him, Glenn is sincere. And he is a great guy to work for. Yep. Glenn recognizes the people and pays them for their time and work. Glenn, quite frankly, wouldn't have to pay people to fill in for his national radio show. He wouldn't have to. The exposure for most of our careers is good, but he takes care of people.
Very, very cool. Don't tell him, but because I'm a college student, I don't get up till 12 p.m. So I'm usually listening to the Pat and Stu show. So
that's all right. That's fine too. You remember, you get those podcasts too at theblaze.com. By the way, we just found out we're on iTunes, the podcast, SoundCloud.com, / Doc Thompson Show, and we're just putting us up everywhere. Stitcher is another place where you can find us.
That one too. Now switching over to a little bit of politics, there's a lot of issues that the Republican Party and the Conservatives, they're divided on. In the next couple of years, what's the most important issue that they're going to have to figure out, or either come together or pick a side on?
You.
Me.
Yeah, not you specifically, but your demographic.
Right.
Youth. That's the problem. I mean, we have given up the domain of entertainment and education and certainly humor to the left. We've just conceded that and said, no, our ideas will be serious. Why can't we laugh? And why can't we make fun of the people on the left? Because they're absolutely nutty. We should be able to do these things. But we just say, no, we'll let Jon Stewart do it, and it ends up brainwashing people that are young. You're like, well, that sounds reasonable because he laughed when he said it. Instead of making your arguments using some humor, we need the next Jon Stewart. And that's one of the things I'm looking at, is to try to be that person that could be young and fun. And that's how I approach my show as well. We do the serious stuff, and I go after people, and I'm consistent. I give them the business. But my producer, Skip, and I, we do a lot of it.
I saw you having a lot of fun over there.
Yeah, we have to. We do. Well, first of all, I'll go crazy if we don't have fun with it. But we got to laugh. So you get people in the store by being fun and entertaining. They're like, wow, that's pretty funny. And then they're like, okay, that makes a lot of sense what they're saying. You know, you wrap your solid message in humor first, and then you bring a lot more people into the store. It's the youth. They've got to figure that out or we're done. Yep.
And what are your first reactions to CPAC here, CPAC 2013?
CPAC's been great, with the exception of a couple crazy things like the immigration panel yesterday that was not conservative at all, and there was not even a conservative voice in the panel, and my head almost exploded on that. I yelled a few things.
Was that you out in the crowd?
Yeah, that was me yelling in the crowd, and I almost got kicked out, so yeah.
In the coming years under President Barack Obama, how bad can it get? What should we expect? What should we prepare for?
It could get as bad as you can imagine, or it could be okay. I'm not a sky is falling person, but there are some real things to be concerned about. I think the biggest problem that I see is the outrageous debt that we're amassing and the things we cannot afford. And the president will say, oh, we don't have a debt crisis. Here's the thing about debt crisis and a lot of crises. By the time they're a crisis, it's too late. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, there's a crisis. What are we going to do? We're on that road to crisis. There's some bad things coming. So let's take care of it now. And quite frankly, the debt is, in some ways, a very easy thing. Don't spend more than you have. Had we done that 30 years ago, we'd be in good shape right now. Now that we've amassed this huge debt, we have to find a way to pay it down, and that has to be a priority.
Right. And thoughts on 2016?
As far as the Republicans go, whatever, anybody's game, but some of the front runners I'd like to see is a Rand Paul, obviously. I'm not going to get 100%, but if I get in the 90 percentile of what I agree with, that's cool. So a Rand Paul, I'd love to see an Allen West. Yep. And my dark horse that I would love to see, and I don't agree 100%, but pretty high up there, is a Susana Martinez, the governor of New Mexico. I would love to see her get some attention. She is incredible.
And there's one person, he's going to speak later today, and he's kind of become popular with his prayer breakfast speech, Dr. Ben Carson, and there's been talk about him possibly getting involved with 2016 race. What do you think about that, and what are his possibilities?
Ben Carson, yeah, I mean, anybody's possible. He's been real solid. People have seen his videos. It's tremendous. Here's the thing, though. While I believe you have to look at values first, you have to go after the person that does and says the right things. That's the key. Beyond that, we have to look politically. Now, I don't play the political game, but in the reality is that we live in, people are also concerned about those things. In the diverse, let's appeal to all people, that is way secondary. But if you're going to talk politically and you're going to get the political pundits out there and say who would be good for the face of the party because of diversity and all that, which I don't subscribe to, if you end up running a black man, you're running to keep up with the pack. And what is everybody going to say? Oh, your Uncle Tom's, look, you pulled out somebody black too. That's all they're going to end up saying about it. Which again, I'm talking ideals first, but if you're going to, if you concern yourself with those things. If you run a Rand Paul who is white, you run a white guy, then it's like, there they are, run another white guy, they're not getting it or whatever. If
you can't win.
Right. If you run a Hispanic man, you keep up with the pack. Because, okay, they did first black, we got first Hispanic now. We too were diverse. You run a Hispanic woman, you vault the pack, you look to the future.
Now, what about Marco Rubio falling victim of the establishment Republicans?
Yeah, Marco Rubio, very solid on a lot of things. I'm really soured on Marco right now because of his change on immigration. And it's not that he has a different opinion. That's a hot button issue for me, and I'm ticked about what he said. But he's been solid on everything else. My problem with him changing is not the difference of opinion. Again, if I can get 90-some%, I'm pretty happy. My problem with his change was after he was so passionate and now he flip-flopped, which is clearly for political move. It's for political favor. It's political, and I don't want that. If he really had a change of heart, if he said, whatever his come to Jesus, his epiphany moment was, I'd say, okay, I can get behind that, but that isn't what happened. I'm not looking for that person to maneuver politically. I want that person who is solid. And even if I disagree with you, or even if you have a change of heart, which is okay, not for political reasons.
Right. Well, thank you for talking with me. Any last comments?
Nope, that's it. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thanks for talking with me.